contractor, the name of the contractor, the value of it. Everything is there now on display in those counties. This is through the work of the Open Expenditure Forum. That is an activity on the National Integrity Building and Anti-Corruption Program. Also, we have the National Integrity Forum. This is a forum that conglomerates of government anti-graft institutions. Say, for example, the Public Procurement Concession Commission, PPCC, the Governance Commission, the National Elections Commission, the Liberia Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, and the Liberia LERTI General Auditing Commission. Just think about anti-graft institutions. They are all members of the National Integrity Forum that Central supports on the NIMBA program. And that forum has a very big role, which is to ensure that there is transparency in government's service delivery forum. Now you go at the Ministry of Transport, there is a billboard that has the fees for services right at the entry of the Ministry of Transport. The scene is at the Liberia Business Registry. There's a billboard there that has all of the fees for registering your businesses, the various categories of businesses, and the fees attached. And there's another billboard that was posted at the Ministry of Internal Affairs that has similar things. So we were doing that on the National Integrity Forum to ensure that there's access to information and there's transparency in government service delivery, and the likelihood for cheating or extortion is limited. So these are some of the things we're doing on the National Integrity Building and Anti-Corruption Program. Also, we will take a break, and when we return, we'll go to our guests to talk about road transparency and the work you're doing through the Raod Safety International organization. Integrity Watch. This is your hour-long program that is produced by the communication section, as we said, of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. I'm your host, Edward Blamo, and I'm here ably assisted by Mark W. Bondao, and together we're ensuring that this program is successful. And we are privileged, and it's my pleasure, especially to have two distinguished personalities. First, we have the Executive Director of the Raod Safety Action International, Eric Gabriel UJ Jenn-Judges, and we have Tina Smarthe, which is the team lead for the Traffic Incident Victim Assistance Program of RSAI. That's the abbreviation of the Raod Safety Action International. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's begin with Eric. You are doing a lot of work to ensure that there is a safe and sustainable mobility for everyone in Liberia. Tell us the background of this organization. How did you start it, and why, when?
Well, thank you, Blamo. It's an opportunity to be here to talk about the issue that I'm very passionate about, transport. But more importantly, we talk about transparency, corruption, accountability. These are issues that hold our society together. So we should always talk about them. Okay. Very important. Transportation is, the way I look at it, a necessity. It's not a luxury. Because we are inherently born to move. That's why across the board, when you look at transportation, you'll see that it is recommended everywhere. even in the health sector, when you have issue with depression, they say take a walk. They say go out in the wild. The way you can get there is by either a road or a path. So that path will either have to be built or you have to be there. How do we get it there? So inherently, we are organisms that are made to move.
Okay.
Even if you look at our forefathers, they were wanderers. You know why they were wandering? Because they had the ability to move. And in terms of movement, they were moving from one place to the next. They needed pathways to be able to connect, to find food, to do everything because they were wanderers. But their ability to wander was because of their ability to move. So when you start moving, then you need all the other movement means. You need roads, you need everything else. If you take that concept and transition to our modern world today, then the need for mobility is something that's really huge, right? Looking at the global world now, you see the movement of goods and services become really cardinal to the point where we need medicine to move from the Western world to Africa. We need natural resources to move from Africa to the Western world. We need you can imagine the need for movement. So I've been fascinated with transportation, and that's why I went into the transport field. I'm a transport specialist. I have a master's in transportation from the University of Birmingham in the UK. I have a master's in geotechnical engineering with specialty in building foundation for roads and transport needs from China. I did civil engineering here. So my entire career has been around the means to make transport and mobility affordable to everyone. Right? The establishment of RSAI comes from the backdrop of all the things I just talked about, but more importantly, from the work that I've been doing around Africa. Recently, I was working in East Africa, somewhere in the southeast in Swaziland. Okay. I was undertaking a 16-link interchange for a city called Mazini City. Okay. And the magnitude of that project and the ability for it to bring economic benefits to the people kind of fascinated me. But apart from the economic benefits of road and transportation, there is a byproduct. Okay. The byproduct is the injuries, the fatalities, even the disabilities that people experience when they use a road and they have accidents. And for me, being somebody very conscious about our society, in the place I live, in the way I interact, and even the things that hurt other people, they kind of bother me. You know, I'm trumpeting this idea of let's build roads, let's build connectivity, let's come together, let's do this. You know, let's drive our economy through transport. But then the same transport I'm advocating to build is killing people. It's hurting people. It's creating disability for people. Now, the onus is on me to look at how I address that particular issue.
So that's how come you established this?
That is the rationale behind that. More to that, okay. There are personal stories of the need to do this. In college, I had a friend, very personal friend, right? We did almost everything together. In some part of 2016, he got involved in a tragic motor accident on the Somalia Drive. 2 hours after I talked to him, after we've made plans of so many things, up to today's date, I still blame myself for not giving him enough education, enough awareness about road safety. So I blame myself. And it rolls over to the rest of my team members. I've surveyed people across the board. Every time I ask you people, what's your experience with road safety? They always have some sort of story connected to their family, to their friends, to their relatives that have been involved in some kind of road accident, some kind of road issue. Either their father died and they've been suffering mentally. And they've been grieving forever. That is because of their father dying in that road accident. It's not a natural phenomenon. So these are the things that have been hampering me over the years while I was working in the transport sector. I thought it necessary to be able to set up this organization to address that particular issue. And interestingly, the statistic is startling.
Yes, talking about the statistics, and I want to gauge the view of Tina on this one, because you're heading the traffic incident victim assistance program, and looking at the numbers from 2016 to 2021, the deaths via road accident or through road accident has increased from 1,600 to 2,000. And it makes your work as somebody who provides support to victims very tough. How do you go about doing that?
Oh, thank you so much. And as you've just laid it clearly that from 2016 up to now, we have seen that there has been an increase in the fatalities. And working with the amount of people, our victims that are getting involved with these issues, it becomes very tough. It's kind of tough with the increasing numbers, and it's kind of tough with the implementation, with enforcement of laws, and how these people are those who are involved, and those who have been held liable for these people to experience the sufferings that they are going through. How are there punishments? Are there further implementations after? So it's kind of tough with dealing with the victims, and it's kind of tough with dealing with the legal process for these people to get their rightful compensations, for these people for their issues to be clearly addressed and finalized. It's kind of tough.
So specifically, how many people you are dealing with as you speak, as a team lead on that program, and what are some of the feedbacks? Are they positive or negative, or what are some of the things, highlights from some of the things you've been engaged with?
Okay, we have a couple of our victims, and from their experiences and from their testimonies, we kind of receive more of the negative.
Okay.
Yeah, more of the negative in terms of, we have some of our victims who were seriously injured or due to road accidents, and our cars are plying the streets, and most of the cars are insured. But then it turns that when an accident occurs, we have casualties. People are involved. Are these people really getting the redress they deserve? Because some of these issues are happening not because of maybe their carelessness of their own. And so from the testimonies we've received, or some of our victims will say, okay, I was hit by a vehicle and I was rushed to a hospital. I was unconscious, woke up, met myself in the hospital, and I had to pay a certain amount like we normally do at the medical facilities. We will have to, with the facilities demand or payment and before treatment and all that. And then after maybe the family has raised that money to pay, then the patient leaves hospital. Maybe they're not fully recover, or maybe they have recovered, and they take their medical particulars to the insurance company. You'll be so disappointed that these people cannot get redress. They cannot get their financial compensations. And these vehicles have been insured.
Okay.
So it's kind of tough, and it's kind of disappointing and very frustrating to know that we have these laws that say, oh yeah, an insurance company is here. All vehicles should be insured.
So back to you, Eric. Yes, I know there are a lot of challenges as it relates to accident victims. But then my thing is, what are you doing as it relates to prevention? Because your organization should be focused as well on prevention instead of just dealing with victims. So what are your programs or activities around that, and what are some of the success stories you've had so far?
Yes, we're doing a lot around prevention, and in fact, what we want to do substantially is to do a lot of prevention measures, because we don't want people to get involved in an accident. We don't want to even go after people, to pay liability, like Tina was saying, or to do any form of rehabilitation or damage, all the kind of things. We don't want to have to deal with it. So what we are trying to do is to create several programs and projects right from the onset that can address prevention issues. The first thing we have is what we call our awareness and education program. Under the awareness and education program, we have several projects. Currently, we are planning the National Stakeholder Dialogue on road safety. And interestingly, the United Nations at the General Assembly, they passed what we call Resolution 74299. It's basically a document that the global community agreed should be used as a framework to address road safety issues. That framework document has two cardinal points. One is that we want to reduce road fatalities by half by the end of 2030. And then they ask countries to narrow down that framework to their own local context. As we speak, Liberia has not done that. We have not localized the use of that document that is called the Decade of Action for Road Safety. So as we speak, our organization is leading the front to bring together stakeholders from every part of the country, from the rural area, from the national government, the national police, the Ministry of Transport, Public Works, our international development partners, the GIZ, all these folks that are doing something in transportation. We are bringing them together for a 3-day dialogue to talk about that document, but most importantly, to talk about how we contextualize it to be used in Liberia. Because when you look at, again, I was talking about the statistics, when you look at the statistics, Liberia is on a high end. We are at the top tier of the number, of the number of people dying per every 100,000 persons. In 2018, when the statistics were collected by the Global Road Safety Facility, headed by the World Bank, it shows that Liberia has around 35 people dying of every 100,000 persons. As we speak, that number has doubled. We have like around 70 for every 100,000 persons. So if you put Liberia population of approximately 5 million or 5 point something million, divide that by 100,000 and see how many persons dying from every 100,000 group. That's a lot. That's a lot. And apart from just the statistics, Blamo, you can see that. Yep. Of recent, our catalog shows tens of accidents that have happened, from the ERW one to the tanker truck that fell to the Buchanan one that we're just talking about to the Kakata Highway. It's just a lot. Sometimes we are calling from our office. We have the hotline that the people call, right, to report the accidents. And sometimes we sit in our office and we wonder what is going on. You know, from motorbike accident to pedestrian accident to vehicle crashes is a lot. But just to elaborate a little bit on what Tina was talking about. For example, on the ERW road, a truck ran off the road, ran into several people, several kekets and motorbikes, killed a lot of people, injured some people. Mm. Some of those people, we've reached out to them. We've been talking to them. We have a pool of a lot of people because the victims are coming almost every day. One particular case that stood up to me and I want to make mention is a lady residing somewhere in the Dupo Road area. She was involved in that accident. She went to the hospital. The hospital paid attention, but requested payment before she can be treated. So she was moved from ERW to the military hospital. At the military hospital, she still needed to pay. Even though this is a government-run facility, she still needed to pay to get treatment. Because she couldn't afford the money, somebody there offered to put her on their insurance. So they put her on that insurance because their medical insurance cover people. So, but then the person still wanted for her to pay back to them, to the person. You understand? So that kind of whole process. The thing is, that particular vehicle that was involved in the accident has an insurance. The insurance has dragged forever to cover that lady, to cover her expenses. And these are the accountability issues that we want to talk about in the road sector. And there's a lot of examples. Do you have advocacy tailored around that, making sure that insurance companies are held accountable? Oh yes. We have a whole framework that we're unfolding in the coming months that will address this issue. In fact, the insurance issue is an issue that we need to raise this conversation to the national level. Because I've noticed from our surveys, we've noticed that the insurance company are taking $100 from vehicle owners with the intention that they have insured their vehicle, right? And now you can plow the street just by paying $100 and give you the registration paper to say, yes, you're covered. But we know that $100 cannot cover any incident in this country.
Yeah.
So what they are doing is they're strangulating the system, because the system is set up in a way that you insure your vehicle, you pay, and then when there is an issue, the insurance will cover that issue. But because they're not paid for it, or because what they pay is not substantial enough to cover whatever that will happen, when the issue happens, the insurance company will be like, no, that was a one-off payment and an agreement between you and us that this document is just to allow you to plow the street. And this is not working for our system, for our country. Because if we just give somebody paper to plow the street when something happens, who do we hold accountable? And that's the accountability side. And we can talk about it on a broad spectrum. The people who own a vehicle, they're involved. The insurance company are involved. The insurance company, when something happens, they refuse to pay off. They bring in a lot of bottlenecks to not pay. If they don't pay the money and the money remain with them, who do they give the money to? That's an important transparency question that we need to ask. Who do they give the money to?
Something that will, rely heavily on advocates like you in the road sector to ensure that there is, insurance companies are held accountable and that they are, they're transparent in whatever. For example, if you have an interaction with or car owner or somebody who wants to insure the vehicle, let it be clear that these are some of the conditions. I mean, you cannot keep some conditions uncovered and then when push comes to shove, and then you say something else. So
that's really what's happening. Sorry, but before you come back on the next question, that particular issue I was addressing about prevention is just the awareness and education side of it. We have also what we call the policy and advocacy, which we are doing lentily. Because we have read our laws, our public safety law and the traffic safety law. In fact, the traffic safety law is outdated. Passed way somewhere around 1963 or something. From 1963 to now, you know how many models of vehicles have come out. You know how many development of automobiles have been done. So we need to upgrade the law to suit the current reality. Because you can be using 1963 law to enforce whatever it is you want to enforce in 2013 or 2023 or 2030 or 2030. You understand? So it's up there. And we're having this conversation at every level. That law needs to be revised. The public safety law, the vehicle law. So our policy and advocacy side is dealing with that. If the law is revised and we go by the law, it prevents the vehicle from getting involved into accidents. It prevents people from dying, because when accident happen, the likelihood that people will die, people will get injured. So when we write the law properly, it prevents all of that. That speaks to the prevention issue. Even the other program we're running called the data collection is also into prevention. We collect data across the country to know what is happening, to inform our decision, to be able to address some of the issue heads on. So for example, we're using a drone to survey 6 intersections on the Tottenham Boulevard. Tour Street, Caddy Junction, Tottenham, and the 72nd Boulevard, EAW, all those pedestrian traffic, heavily pedestrian traffic in interaction areas. We are surveying them. And the reason we're doing that is to understand the risks that vehicles pose to pedestrians. When we understand the risks and we can explain them properly, then we go to the right authority to say, look, these are the measures that we're supposed to put in place. For example, if you put a traffic light, the traffic light has a clear instruction. When the red comes on for vehicles and the pedestrian light turns green, it gives pedestrian the right to cross. If you violate that law, we know what's supposed to happen. If you're a driver and you violate that law and you hit somebody, we know what the liability is. You understand? So we're collecting data. So many of the things we're doing, they are first in the prevention area before we even go to post crash. before we even go to the TAVAB. And the reason we brought in the TAVAB is because we're human beings. And the sympathy side of us will always be there. Something will happen. We want to go to the legal system. We want to address it. But seriously, I can see a victim lying there with a broken legs and want to go to the court first. The first natural instinct is for me to provide some sort of assistance to get that person either rehabilitated or to take them to the hospital so they get some sort of medical attention first. Then we deal with the other issue. And that's why your question is really relevant. What are we doing with prevention? If we do a lot in prevention, then we don't have to do a lot in the post-crash area.
Thank you very much. And that's, I mean, you're listening to Integrity Watch. This is an hour-long program that is produced by the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. And we have as our guest, Eric Gabriel UJ Jenn-Judges. He's a road engineer and professional, but he's also the executive director of the Raod Safety Action International. This is a civil society organization that is advocating and demanding safe and sustainable mobility for all, ensuring that the roads are safe and that people fly on safe routes, reducing forms of accident. And this assisted is accompanied by Ms. Tina Smarthe. She is a team lead for the program that they run called Traffic Incident Victim Assistance Program. And we're here discussing road safety and accountability. And if you have your concerns, in case you want to ask questions or you have something to say, you could call 0779 000 691. The numbers is 0779 000 691. We have one number. It's 0779 000 691, and you will have your concerns addressed. Now, we'll talk to Tina. Talking about your program that you spearheading, we have a secretariat, a national secretariat, which is the National Road Safety Secretariat, and I expect that you're working along with them. So I want to know what's the cooperation level with that secretariat that comprises some government ministries or agency working in the road sector.
Thank you so much. With the road the Secretariat, National Road Secretariat, we've been in so many communications. We've had several meetings, and they are actually cooperating. Okay. And we pushed our proposal and our ideas, and they embraced it. And we have upcoming meetings to conclude on our proposal and the way forward. And so I think it's anytime, maybe next month or this month.
What specific support are you getting from the Secretariat?
The support we are getting?
Yes, as
an in terms of funding, they are actually pushing our proposal for funding.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the way.
Okay, are you collaborating with other CSOs? Are there other CSOs in the road or sector that you have some collaborations with?
Yeah, we are collaborating also with the GRZ. They are giving us their technical support.
Okay. So, what are some of the challenges, Eric, that you've experienced, since you started this organization? What are some of the specific challenges? You understanding the sector, but then I know obviously there will be a challenge of funding and whatever, but what other technical support challenge that you have that you wish that you have somebody to help?
Well, that's an interesting one. We've had a lot of challenges. Well, every good thing there should be several challenges. So I believe this is good, and as you can see, we're here and we're talking about a lot more that can be done. So there are a lot of challenges. One of the key ones that stand out is the fact that our people are somehow not so informed, not so educated about road safety. Because, and why do I say that? The reason is, if people are aware of something, the way they embrace it, the way they help, right, to champion it will be different. So because because people are not so informed about the road sector, about road safety, and everything else around it. They're not so enthusiastic, right, in terms of supporting. That's one of the biggest challenges that we've had. Well, on the overall, there are a lot of other small challenges, like, for example, finding the right people to fit in, considering that we'll be unpacking a lot of technical issues, but also a lot of social issues, right? So you need the right kind of skills. Finding people to be interesting enough to handle conversations around road safety. Those are the key challenges. In terms of funding, yeah, we've been able to go out there and look at a broad sector of development organizations, from the World Bank to the African Development Bank, to all the other institutions that are doing a lot in the transport sector. We've reached out to them. The challenge is for them to be able to come back and recognize that there is an important issue that we need to address. And we need a civil society organization, or we need civil society organizations that are working in this area to come on board and address the issue. Just by having the National Road Secretariat, the National Road Safety Secretariat is not enough. Because the government can set up an institution, but we as the people can push the government to be effective. And the way we do that is through civil society organization. So if we are not funded, if we don't have organization coming around to be able to support the initiatives that we're undertaking, yeah, the government institution will be there. But then are we getting the right benefits, the right impact, and the right things that are supposed to happen? And those are the challenges. And it's really interesting because for some reason people feel these things are already covered. No, they're not covered. The challenge with funding, there's challenge with finding the right people to join in this initiative. Because we run a lot of programs, there's always also this challenge of finding volunteers. Okay. We need volunteers to be able to go out there and create mass awareness, and that's part of the initiative as citizens that we can take on. This can be somebody's volunteering opportunity to be able to go out there and explain our road safety to our people in the community, to our lay people who don't understand it, to teach somebody how to cross the road. There is a particular way you can cross the road. I guess a lot of people don't know. I've seen people just run across the road. How do we educate people about that? We have one program in the primary schools. We call it Road Safety Education in primary schools. We're looking for volunteers to train to allow them to go in the classroom and teach our kids how to cross the road. So those are the challenges. But the good thing is we are going along. Okay. That's why these challenges.
Yeah. Then you have this partnership with the International Road Federation. What is it all about?
Yes, we have recently we signed a partnership with the International Road Federation. In fact, the International Road Federation is one of those recognized institutions, road institutions in the world. They were founded somewhere in 1948. They've been operating for over 75 or 70 years, if I'm not mistaken. They've seen our work. They've assessed what we are doing, and we had several conversations. In fact, right after the launch of Raod Safety Action International, we were opportune to send 4 of our staff to Ghana to attend the International Road Federation first workshop and conference in Africa. So 4 of our members were there. Also, recently I was in the United States and we signed this agreement. And this partnership is tailored to giving capacity to Road Safety Action International, building our capacity to the point where we are able to handle road safety issues from every angle, because we are going to be doing activities as large as policy formation and laws, and we'll be doing activities such as teaching primary school students to learn how to cross the road. We need knowledge across the board. We need enough capacity. So they've agreed they will be our capacity partner, capacity building partner. They are going to help us to build our capacity to the point where we are able to effectively and efficiently execute these projects.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. And you can put in your calls by calling 0779 000-691. That is number, and ask your questions. We're talking road safety, and it's very significant because you may not know. You may be, just walking by the road and be just unfortunate, and you could get physically challenged just by one road accident. There are a lot of people who were, very much okay. Then they were just moving by the road, and then they just see a speeding vehicle, lost control, and then ran into them, and today they are physically challenged. So you do not underestimate anything, any sector of the society. Let's take this call. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, your name and where are you calling from?
This is Oliver Bando calling from Raod County.
Yes, let's hear you.
I particularly am calling from the National Foundation of the National Foundation of the Community.
Thank you.
I'm hearing how education is to educate people how to use a road. And the organization go across the country, the AFC go across the country. Are you also thinking of taking the training everywhere and including people with disabilities?
Thank you very much. You too can ask your questions. You can put in your concerns by dialing 0779 000 691, 0779 000 691, and you can have your concerns put forth, to be addressed by the folks from the Road Safety Organization. And because this is a very important thing. This is a very important thing, as I was saying. You may not know what happens. Life is full of uncertainties. There are a lot of people today, they have challenges with the movement because of road accidents. You may be in an offensive vehicle, moving around. You never know what happens. So things like safety, taking small precautionary measures, watching road signs, ensuring that when there is a pedestrian in the crosswalk, watching out for them. Keep your slowing down a little bit. Not overtaking when you're on a bridge. Not overtaking when you're in a curve. These simple things are very key to preserving our lives. So this is why this initiative is very important, and that there is a need to, increase support, increase advocacy around road safety as it's been done by the Road Safety Action International. You hear the caller. What's your response?
Well, thank you very much. The organization is nationwide. Okay. In fact, the reason why it's called international is because there is a vision to expand it to other countries in Africa.
Do you have branches across Liberia? Do you have volunteers?
We have individuals across the country that we collaborate with to give us good information about what's going on. In terms of the programs, every program that we have is targeted nationwide. It's not constrained to just Maserati. Maserati is not Liberia. So some of the education program we'll be running here, we'll be running there in Maryland, we'll be running there in Krenchi there, wherever it is, we'll be running in there. So it's not just Maserati or Monrovia as people think. Because normally when you talk about these things, people just center around Monrovia. But the disability issue he's talking about also, yes, we are concerned about post-crash. We're doing a lot in post-crash. In fact, we structured the TAVAB program in 3 formats. One is moral support, financial support, and legal support. Okay. So these projects take care of the issues that come when you are involved in an accident. But there's a way we determine that, because there are some people that get involved in an accident and are able to treat themselves. So then what do we do? So we look for people who there is a need for that. So yeah, but we do all of that. We do all of that. Yeah, the caller mentioned that, so I just thought to give that.
Yeah. So to you, Tina, what are your next plans? What are some of the next steps for your TAVAB program, or what are some of the plans you have?
Oh, firstly, we intend working with our victims morally. Yeah, because most of the victims that we've communicated with, we have interacted with, we see that there's a need for more support. And so firstly, we'll like to connect with them, and we give them that moral support. And on the moral support program, we have counseling and rehabilitation. Sometimes due to the severity of the injury, people tend to suffer from mental health issues.
Okay.
Yes. So That will be our next step.
Okay, so thank you very much. If you're listening to this program, you are in tune to Integrity Watch. This is your hour-long program that is produced by the communication section of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. And as we have said earlier, we have two distinguished personalities. We have Eric Jenn-Judges, he's the Executive Director of the Raod Safety Action International, and Tina Smarthe, she's the team lead for the Traffic Incident Victim Assistance Program. And we were talking about road safety. We are running out of time gradually, so we'd just like to get a parting comment from Tina and first Tina.
Okay, thank you. First of all, and to our victims out there, everyone, would like to say you are not alone. You have a support system, a system that is set up to meet you at the point you need. And so we'd like to say you are free to call us. We have our numbers are posted. You have our numbers posted if there's a problem in terms of accident.
We try to read a hotline for accident hotline. Yes. So if you have it, read it. So in case you have, accident, you see an accident in your community, just call the number to have it track. Because it's important to take stock of some of these things, because you will know the amount of accidents that we've had in the course of a period, and we know the severity of the situation that we have. So please read the number.
So this is the hotline of 0887 077 542. And I'll read it again.
Yep.
0887 077 542. So if you have a problem, if you have come across,
it's free for
yeah.
It's free. Okay, 087 077 542. Okay, so yes, it's free. Call that number and you can register an accident so that the team at the Raod Safety Action International can keep track of that and track that and put it in your database and ensure that we know actually how many road accidents are happening in Liberia. So is that okay with you? Are you done?
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Eric.
Thank you so much, Blamo, and thank you to Mark for having us. Sometimes always bringing us this studio. I like
Thank
that.
you.
We need these conversations,
Yeah.
and these are the places. These are the conversations that allow us to be able to disseminate important information like what we are doing. Raod Safety Action International is set up to address road safety issues. We are working with national government. We are working with our partners to be able to do that. There are a lot of inconsistency. There are a lot of issues that we need to do, from transparency to accountability, mainly in the road sector that we have to deal with. Before I go, I would like to mention one. Nowadays, it's really rampant. I see people plying the opposite lane, simply because the people who make law has decided that the opposite lane is where they want to ply their vehicles. There's a whole lot of things wrong with that. But one important issue wrong with that is a violation of an internationally agreed road safety rule. That when somebody is on this lane and this is the lane they're supposed to be on, you're not supposed to be there if you go in the opposite direction. And in this country, we are normalizing. And because the people who lead and normalize it, our people decided to follow that. So we're driving on the Southern Boulevard, you see almost everybody on the opposite lane.
Yeah,
that's really wrong.
That's a sad reality, and that's the voice of Eric Gabriel, Jenn-Judges. He's the Executive Director of the Raod Safety Action International. Earlier, you heard of Tina Smarthe. Sorry if I'm calling you Smith. Tina Smarthe is the team lead for Traffic Incident and Victim Assistance Program, and they were here together talking about road safety and accountability on the Integrity Watch Radio program. And that's all the time we have for this edition. We look forward to having a brand new edition next Thursday at about this time. Until then, my name is Edward Blamo, bidding you goodbye.